Hello everybody, so it's a quick video about IKEA assembly, and I keep telling people about something that's changed with a new thing that IKEA are doing now, which is they've got a system where you don't need nails and screws to put some things together. So today I'm doing this Hauga, and I'm just going to show you what they've done. So when you start putting your cupboards together, it has this little notch that is shaped like that, and it goes into a key shaped hole which is bigger at the top than at the bottom, which is the opposite shape to that. I'm going to show you how it goes together if I can film it. So all you do to get it together is you have to lift this up so it goes in the top of the hole. The same at the bottom. So it's like that. Okay, you can see it's still sticking up proud at the edge there. I'll do the same at the other end, line it up, pick it up, put it into the top of the hole, like they're both sticking up. Now to join that together, all you do is push this down. It's quite tight until that's in line. Same on this one. Push the shelf down until it's level. Now that is completely joined together. Okay, and it'll be the same for the top, and it'll be the same for the bottom. And I'll also show you the new method of putting the backs on as well in a minute when I get to it. Catch you a minute. So when you're putting the top and the bottom on, if you're not sure which way around it goes, the easiest thing I can tell you is there's a slot for the back in the side, which means there must be a slot which lines up with it on the top. The same at the bottom. Same system here, peg, hole, and line them up. Pick this piece up and push it down into that part. Just so that you know that you've pushed this one down far enough, you'll see at the back of this clears the slot, because the backing panel has got to slide along here. So the top of that must be at the bottom of that, okay, on the shelves and the ends, as your back won't fit in. Before you push the panel down, make sure that there is no gap here, okay, because if it's out at the bottom and in at the top, it's not going to fit together properly. So make sure that there is no gap. So put the back panel on, put it into the slots, and make sure that that hole is going up to the top, because that hole there is what you attach it to the wall with. Okay, so you will know that that back is in there properly because it lines up with the bottom. Okay. The other thing is the holes line up with the back. So I'll show you the other two clever parts that they've got now. The first one is this. Okay. And that sits in there like that. And then that's just loose. And then you've got a pin. Works a little bit like a raw plug and a screw. Put that in there, push it down with your thumb, and it's held. So you get those all the way up there. And the second type is this one for the sides. So you get one that's shaped like that, and that. Get pushed in there like that. And then the second part of it looks like that. You put that on there. And as you push it in, it forces it apart. And you do that up the sides, down there, and then those up there. And that's how it's fixed together without any screws or nails. So you remember I said it's important that that hole in the back fits at the top, and the reason for that is because you've got to put this in there. Like that, and then this screws on the top. And the reason it screws is because when you've got it on the floor stood up, if this doesn't touch the wall, you can adjust it in ways or out ways. There's a hole through the middle because in the pack we've got big screws, raw plugs for fixing it to the wall so it can't tip forward. Usually when it comes to putting the dowels in, I do find that you can literally just push them in with your thumb like that. If you do get a little bit of resistance, gentle tap with a hammer till they stop. So those two rails just fit across the bottom, and then you have to get these to go in there. And these ones just go in there. Just go around all of them and put those in. Okay, so I've turned it over. Be good as time as any just to check before you go any further. Obviously your drawers have got to go in the middle. So your middle two must have the drawer runners on both sides. And we're going to put this piece here on the back like that. It says don't use a hammer. I never use a hammer, I just push them in with my finger. I just get the occasional one that sticks. Okay, and obviously these holes go at the back, and that just lines up with these. Last bit of fixing that is you go around the back, and the little white plugs that you put the back on with, one goes in there with a pin in the middle, and that stops it from rocking about. So I've put it in place and I've adjusted those so that they touch the wall when it's pushed against the skirting board. Next bit is fixing it to the wall. Simple instructions. The only thing I'll say is just remember is that you get these in the pack. I'm not sure that they're suitable for plasterboard walls. It doesn't really say anything. Me personally, plasterboard wall that I'm fixing to, I'm going to get some plasterboard raw plugs or fisher plugs, and I'm not going to use that to fix it to the wall. Next thing in is fitting the shelves, and that's with this part. Looks like the picture, which is good. They go inside, and you just choose which level you want them, and they go that way up, and your shelf sits on the top. 4 per shelf, and they fit into that on your shelves. When you're putting your shelves in, don't get confused between those holes and those holes. Those are for the hinges, they're nearer to the front, and those are for your shelves. Okay, so the front ones are for your door hinges. When you go to put your shelf in, that's the front, chipboard at the back. So it goes in like that, so that there's clean edges at the front. Okay, so it's time to put your doors on. There are 2 parts to the hinge. There is this part, and that goes in the door, and the screws are already waiting for you. This part goes in those holes I was showing you a minute ago, and to make sure you get this the right way round, can you see there's an arrow on it? And that arrow faces towards the front, and then it's the right way around to fit to the other part of the hinge. The other thing I do when I put these on is I don't do the screws up completely tight, so I move them down, so that when I put my door on, it means if I want to adjust the door afterwards, I can slide it up and down. The other thing to mention is that slot there, when you put them together, I don't know if you can see inside, but it's got a little T-piece on the end, so the end of that T has to slot behind that, as the door won't go on properly. It's not something I can show you, unfortunately. So there's it on. I don't know if you can see, it's flush with the back. Now I know it's on, but the door touches the bottom, and that's why I left those screws loose, because now I can slide it up so it comes away from the bottom, and just tighten my screws up, and it'll be clear at the top and it'll be clear at the bottom. Just before you shut your door, pop your screw in, and then put your knob on the other side. A couple of last things then. On the drawers you can see there's these little stops. Stops the doors banging into the shelves. Feel around with your finger. Pop it in like that. And then your pin. Same process as what you did on the back. Your pin just pops in, and then the cupboard shelf hits that. Last thing I'm going to do before I do the drawers is do the fixing it to the wall. And I spoke to you about raw plugs earlier. This is a large raw plug for a plasterboard wall. You can see it has teeth on the top, and this part here, when you put it through the wall, that part squeezes outward behind the plasterboard, and then this part stops it coming back. So that's where I'll be fixing it to. They're called Fisher raw plugs. Okay, so when you're going to screw it to the wall, make sure the washer is the right way around. And then if you want it to look pretty, you can slide one of those on the top, even though nobody's going to see them. Okay, so just the drawers to do now. One thing I do is I separate my 3 drawers into 3 sizes, and just to make my life easier, I just sort out all the parts before I start. So the first job is putting the pins in the drawer front, but you'll notice on this one that it goes in those 2, And in those ones it goes on the outside too. Easiest way to tell the difference is if you try to put one of those in there, you'll find it's very, very loose. And it's because it's actually meant for one of those. So always look at the instructions. So you put your raw plug in the side and you'll see that those two holes and that line up. And push that on, okay? And you know it's the right way around because this groove has got to fit to the inside, because that's where the back has got to fit, so that faces the inside, okay? Next thing to do is to secure the drawer front with these. The way you've got, you know, you've got these right way round is, can you see there's a little arrow? So the arrow always points towards the pin, towards the outside of the drawer. So there's the top of it, look, that slot goes over it. Ooh, it's a bit fiddly with holding the camera, so that goes in there. Arrow pointing towards the pin, then turn with a flat blade screwdriver. Same in that one. Do is to put the bottom of your drawer in there. Make sure you don't put it in that way round because that's the bottom. Stand that in there, stand in the slots loose. Put this in the back. It does tell you to use a hammer into those two holes. Okay. And then that slot there lines up with the back of your drawer. I'm not going to be able to film this and do it. So that slot there is for the bottom of your drawer. And you've got these two holes here. And you're going to put those in like that to secure it on. Back is on. Get your pin. Push it through the hole. Another one of those. Turn it around so the arrow's pointing the outside. Pop it in the hole. And the same for the other three. Okay, so last couple of things. Knobs go on the same as the doorknobs on the cupboard. And then you've got to fit Uranus to the bottom, and the easiest thing to do with these, they look a bit confusing the first time you do them, but the wheel that hangs on the side, and the wheel has to be at the back of the drawer. And you've got the little screw holes for those tiny screws. To get your drawer in, you hook the wheels on the back of the drawer over those wheels and it will slide along. And there we go, folks. One finished IKEA HAUGA unit. Thanks for watching. Hope it was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll keep putting stuff on. Thank you.